Let's read my followers' stories.
There lived a man named Lucas, who had always found solace and joy in weaving tales. He was a writer, known far and wide for his captivating stories that danced between reality and imagination, pulling readers into worlds full of wonder, magic, and endless possibilities. Lucas's stories had touched many hearts, but none had touched his heart as deeply as the story that was about to unfold in his own life. Lucas lived in a charming cottage, with ivy creeping up its stone walls, flowers blooming in every window box, and the gentle sound of a nearby stream that lulled him to sleep each night. But the most beautiful part of his life was his wife, Emma. Emma was everything Lucas had ever dreamed of: kind, intelligent, and with a spirit as vibrant as the morning sun. She was the muse behind many of his stories, the silent partner who brought life to the words he penned. The couple had been married for 5 years, and in those years, their love had only deepened. They shared a life filled with simple joys, long walks through the meadows, evenings by the fireplace with a good book, and countless conversations about their hopes and dreams. But there was one dream that they both held close to their hearts, a dream that had eluded them for a while: starting a family. It wasn't that they hadn't tried. For years, they had hoped and prayed, waiting for the day when they could welcome a child into their lives. But each time they hoped, their hopes were dashed. It was a silent sorrow that they shared, one that was unspoken but ever present. Despite the disappointments, they never lost faith in their love or in the belief that one day, their dream would come true. And then, one crisp winter morning, everything changed. Emma had been feeling a bit off for a few days, tired, a bit nauseous, and unusually sensitive to smells. At first, she dismissed it as just a lingering cold or the effects of the winter chill, but there was a small, quiet hope inside her that whispered it could be something more. After all, this wasn't the first time she had felt this way, only to be met with disappointment. But this time, something felt different. With a mix of excitement and anxiety, she decided to take a pregnancy test, not expecting much but unable to resist the possibility that this could be the moment they had been waiting for. As she waited for the results, her heart pounded in her chest. She couldn't bring herself to look at the test, afraid of seeing another negative result. Finally, she took a deep breath and glanced at the tiny window on the test. Her breath caught in her throat. There, clear as day, was a positive result. Emma's hands trembled, and tears welled up in her eyes. She was pregnant. After all the years of waiting, hoping, and praying, she was finally pregnant. Emma didn't know how long she stood there, staring at the test in disbelief, before she realized that she had to tell Lucas. She wiped her tears, took a few deep breaths to calm herself, and went to find her husband. Lucas was in his study, hunched over his desk, typing away in his latest story. He didn't hear her come in, so she stood quietly in the doorway for a moment, just watching him. There was a peacefulness in the way he worked, a contentment that came from doing what he loved. "Lucas," she said softly. He looked up, surprised to see her standing there. "Emmy, what is it?" She walked over to him, her heart pounding, and handed him the test. Lucas stared at it, confusion written across his face. It took him a moment to process what he was seeing, and when he did, his eyes widened in disbelief. "Are you?" he began, but couldn't finish the sentence. Emma nodded, tears spilling over her cheeks. "We are going to have a baby," she whispered. For a moment, Lucas just stared at her, his mind reeling. And then, without warning, he pulled her into his arms, holding her tightly as if afraid she might disappear. Tears of joy filled his eyes as he buried his face in her hair. They stood like that for a long time, holding each other, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the moment. "We are going to be parents," Lucas murmured, still in awe of the words. Emma nodded against his chest. "Yes, we are." From that moment on, their lives were filled with a new kind of joy, one that was both exhilarating and terrifying. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of emotions. They told their families and closest friends, who rejoiced with them, and slowly began to prepare for the arrival of their little one. Lucas, ever the storyteller, found himself inspired in ways he had never been before. Every day brought new ideas for stories, all centered around the theme of parenthood, of the adventures that awaited him and Emma as they embarked on this new journey. He began writing furiously, filling pages with tales of magical lands where children went on grand quests, guided by the love and wisdom of their parents. But as much as Lucas was lost in his writing, he was even more devoted to Emma. He attended every doctor's appointment with her, asked endless questions, and read every book on pregnancy and parenting he could get his hands on. He wanted to be prepared, to be the best father he could be, and to make sure that Emma was cared for in every way. Emma, for her part, was glowing. Pregnancy suited her, and she found herself filled with a deep sense of peace and contentment. She loved feeling the baby move inside her, loved imagining what their child would look like, what kind of personality they would have. She spent hours dreaming of the future, of the life they would build as a family. As the months passed, their excitement grew. They decided to wait until the baby was born to find out if it was a boy or a girl, preferring to keep the surprise. They decorated the nursery in neutral colors, soft creams and greens, with touches of woodland creatures that Lucas had designed himself. The room was filled with handmade toys, knitted blankets from family members, and a small bookshelf that Lucas had lovingly filled with his favorite childhood stories. One evening, as they sat together in the nursery, Lucas looked around the room, a sense of awe filling him. "I can't believe we're really going to be parents," he said softly. Emma smiled, her hand resting on her growing belly. "Neither can I, but I can't wait to meet our little one." Lucas leaned over and kissed her forehead. "Me too." The weeks turned into months, and soon they found themselves in the final stretch of the pregnancy. Emma was now 8 months along, and the baby was growing quickly. The excitement was palpable, but so was the anxiety. They both knew that their lives were about to change in ways they couldn't fully comprehend. One night, as they lay in bed, Emma turned to Lucas. "Do you ever worry about whether we'll be good parents?" Lucas looked at her, surprised by the question. "Of course I do," he admitted. "I think every parent worries about that." Emma nodded. "I just want to do everything right. I want our child to feel loved, safe, and happy." Lucas reached over and took her hand, squeezing it gently. "And they will. Because we'll love them more than anything in the world, and we'll do our best every day. That's all we can do." Emma smiled, reassured by his words. "You're right. And I know that, with you by my side, we'll be just fine." Lucas kissed her hand. "We will be," he promised. As the due date approached, Lucas and Emma found themselves in a state of nervous anticipation. They had packed their hospital bags, prepared the nursery, and had everything ready for the baby's arrival. But no amount of preparation could fully calm the nerves they felt. Then, one evening, just as the sun was setting, Emma felt the first twinge of pain. At first, she dismissed it as nothing more than the usual aches and pains of pregnancy. But as the night went on, the pains grew stronger and more frequent. By the early hours of the morning, it was clear that she was in labor. Lucas was by her side in an instant, helping her through the contractions and timing them carefully. When they became too intense, he knew it was time to go to the hospital. They grabbed their bags, and Lucas helped Emma into the car, his heart racing with a mix of excitement and fear. The drive to the hospital felt like a blur, a surreal journey through the quiet, empty streets. Lucas kept glancing over at Emma, who was breathing through the pain, her face pale but determined. He tried to stay calm, but inside, his mind was spinning. This was it. They were about to meet their baby. When they arrived at the hospital, they were quickly admitted, and Emma was taken to the labor and delivery room. Lucas stayed by her side the entire time, holding her hand, whispering words of encouragement, and doing everything he could to support her. The hours passed in a haze of pain and anticipation. Emma was incredible, strong, focused, and determined. Lucas was in awe of her, amazed by her strength and resilience. He had always known she was strong, but seeing her go through labor made him realize just how powerful she truly was. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the moment they had been waiting for arrived. With one last, powerful push, their baby was born. The room was filled with the sound of their child's first cries, a sound that brought tears to both of their eyes. "It's a girl."
Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe to my channel. If you want to share your story, write it down in the comments. Peace.